Hi, welcome. This is a mini lecture on parts of the brains and what they do. First, you will see we will be discussing the lobes of the brain. The first part of the brain we're going to discuss is the frontal lobe. It is the red section that you can see. It is located at the front of the head, and its main functions are future planning, self-management, and decision-making. It is also responsible for the speech and language production, and it is vital for empathy and forming personalities. The parietal lobe is at the top and center of your brain. Its main function is sensory perception and integration. It is home to the brain's primary sensory areas. The next lobe is the temporal lobe. It is located back behind the ears, and its functions are to process auditory information, and it encodes our memories. The ocular lobe is located at the back of the head, and it is your visual perception, and it includes color, forms, and motions. The next slide, or the next picture you will see, is the brain stem. The brain stem, the first part of the brain stem that we're going to discuss is the anterior commissure, and it links the two cerebral hemispheres, and it interconnects the amygdala and the temporal lobe, and its main function is it promotes memory, speech, emotion, and hearing. The next one is also green, and it's a pituitary gland, and it is in the middle of the base of the skull, and it secretes hormones into the bloodstream. It is the main, it secretes your thyroid glands, your reproductive organs, and your adrenal glands. The dark purple area that you can see is a corpus callosum. It is a thick bundle of nerves that ensures both sides of the brains can communicate with one another. You will also see is the OC, and it's also dark purple. And it is the optic chiasm, and it is an X-shaped structure formed by crossing the optic nerves in the brain. The next one you'll see is light purple. This septum, it separates the frontal lobes, or it separates the frontal horns of the body of the ventricle and the midline lines. The septum is in the light blue, and it's midline of the brain between the two cerebral hemispheres. The fornix, which is the red part of this picture that you will see, is involvement. It has an involvement in memory. It is a C-shaped bundle of nerves, and it connects the tract of the limbic system, which we will speak in reference to shortly. The thalamus, which is the orange part that you will see, is a relay station. It relays all senses except for smell, and it comes in there, and then it is outed there before going to other parts of the brain to be processed. The hypothalamus, which is in the yellow, also in the picture is HT. It is at the base of the brain, and it maintains the body's integral balance. The CS, the PB, and the CI. The PB is the center of the brain, and it regulates hormones to include melatonin. The CS, the superior cocculus, is your visual auditory information. The inferior oculus is the main sound center. The cerebrum is the tan, and it is split into two hemispheres, and it controls the body. The midbrain, it is it is part of the central nervous system. Your motor movements, your movements of the eyes, your auditory and visual processing. The pons, which is the dark orange, it works with the medulla oblongata, to maintain respiratory rhythm and REM sleep. The cerebellum, which is the blue, is at the back and the bottom of your brain, and it helps you maintain balance, coordination, and eye movements. The medulla oblongata, which is the pink section of this picture, is the lowest part of the brain, or the brainstem, and it regulates cardiovascular and respiratory systems. It also relays information from the spinal cord to the bottom, or to the brain. And then finally, the spinal cord, it connects the brain to the lower back. Finally, we will discuss the limbic system. The limbic system includes the limbic cortex, which is associated for behavioral regulation. The septal area is part of the frontal lobe, and it controls your emotional, behavioral, and spatial behaviors. The thalamus is associated with perception, the role in meaning, and alertness and attention. The hippocampus is in the temporal lobe, and it stores your long-term memories. This part of the brain is affected in a variety of neurological and psychiatric disorders. The amygdala is a pair of almond-shaped regions deep in the brain, and it helps to regulate emotions and encode memories. This is especially pertinent to emotional memories. The hypothalamus is at the base of the brain, and it is related to releasing hormones, controlling appetite, managing sexual behavior, and regulating body temperature. Thank you.